Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donohue and Sonia Mansfield, talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donohue, and my cohort of creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. We got us a hip-hop full of creep in one person who's a gigantic man.
Yes, he is a gigantic man. This whole episode ain't nothing but a creep thing, baby.
Nice.
Thanks.
Getting that down there.
Trigger warnings. I might try to rap.
We both may make some attempts here. We're apologizing now for the way they come out. We are always looking, just in case you didn't know this, if this is your first time listening, we always end the show with somebody who is not a creep, or today we're talking about not creepy nonprofits that are associated with the world of hip hop. But we're always looking for suggestions for creeps and also non-creeps. So the best ways to reach out to us. Let's start with social media. We do have a basic Facebook page. That's where people go to complain about our language. This is your big warning that we do use salty language in this program.
Shit, fuck, damn.
You can find us on Facebook. We do have a private Facebook group and a private Facebook page, but you have to answer the questions.
Have to.
If you don't answer the questions and promise to be a good little soldier, we can't have you in there because we just don't need the bullshit.
I don't like I don't like rejecting people, but y'all, you have to answer the questions and you have to agree to the rules.
Right.
I am putting my foot down.
Indeed. We're also on Threads and Instagram and Blue Sky at What a Creep Podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Now, Sonia, do you want to tell them about our website?
Yeah, go to whatacreeppodcast.com. It's everything you want to know about the podcast, but we're afraid to ask. You shouldn't be afraid to ask. But if you are for some reason, you could go to there and find all of the things you are looking for. We have links to all of our past episodes and their little blog posts, and you can open them up. And there's our show notes because we source everything we do. We're not making this stuff up. We want to give people credit for the work they do and all the reporting. If you're looking for a deeper dive on, you want those deep cuts on your creeps, start there. Mm-hmm. It's great. We also have a link to our merch shop where you can get t-shirts and tote bags and face masks and pillows and all the things. I can testify the shirts are super comfy.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite.
It's like butter.
It's like butter. My friend, we also have a link to our Patreon. Do you want to tell them about that?
I do want to tell them about that, Sonia. We do have a Patreon. We've been doing the show for a long time now. We're on our 29th season, and we average about 10 to 12 episodes per season, which is pretty exciting. So on our Patreon wall, we have our first 9 seasons up on that wall. And then we also put out 2 bonus episodes a month. Now, we were supposed to put out 3 in May. I'm sorry, May got away from me. It happens. So we're going to make it happen in June. But what we do is Sonia and I, we send each other a list of topics. We go through what's happening in the news, pop culture, that kind of thing. And we just kind of shoot the shit. And it's fun. It's fun. And we do an audio version. We also have a video version so you could see what we look like, see our pusses as we're talking about the news.
Pusses.
So I want to thank Leah and Al. Those are recent people who joined our Patreon. We will put out 3 episodes in June. I promise you all. Thank you all who sign up there. And another way you can support us is leave us reviews if it's on Spotify or Good Pods or Apple Podcasts. And I think we got a new 5-star review, Sonia.
We do. Oops, it just went away. Oh, here it is. From CRX Pat gave us 5 stars and said, love, love, love. And they talked about how much they are into running and they've been doing a lot of running and they've been listening, going through our archives and listening to the show. And I love that for them.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and going running. You're a better person than me.
You're a fitter person than me.
You're a fitter person than me.
Thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. And that's another way you can support us or, ask for stickers, put that on your bumper sticker or on your laptop or whatever.
Yeah.
Go to the coffee shop, look cool, or just tell somebody about the show. All of those are great ways to help support this show. We really appreciate all of you.
We do.
So, Sonia, what are we going to be talking about today?
We are going to be talking about Suge Knight, y'all. So let's get started. Let's start with the sources. Billboard, Biography, The Daily Beast, The Los Angeles Times, People, Rolling Stone, Vibe, Wikipedia, and The Wrap. 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Margot D and Sonia M are at the door.
Quick, what race are they?
Suge Knight is the co-founder and former CEO of Death Row Records. He is a central figure in the gangsta rap commercial success of the 90s, mainly thanks to Dr. Dre's The Chronic in 1992 and Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. He's probably better known for being an absolute menace. He's been arrested over a dozen times, ranging from assault and robbery to weapons possession, witness intimidation. He's currently serving 28 years in prison for a fatal hit and run in 2015. He's a bully and a creep, and he's got a massive rap sheet.
So how soon does our president now let him out of jail?
This would not surprise me.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, Trump's always been more East Coast in the East Coast, West Coast rap battle. So I would predict that a P. Diddy pardon would come for him before Suge Knight. So
gotcha.
But you never know. You never know. So bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. Let's start like we always do back in the day. All right, I won't do it anymore, y'all. I'm sorry. But it's been stuck in my head all day. Marion Hugh Knight Jr. was born April 19th, 1965 in Compton, California.
City of Compton. See, I could sing too.
His parents are Marion Knight Sr. and his mother's Maxine Knight, and he's the youngest of 3. And he got the nickname Suge, short for Sugar Bear, because he was so sweet as a child. Aww, what happened?
Let's just say he outgrew that name.
I guess so. Knight grew up in the working class home in Compton, which was really known for gang activity back in the day. Y'all go back and watch the movie Colors.
Compton is no joke.
Although that's not a documentary. It's a very Hollywood version of it, and we should probably cover it on our other podcast, Dorking Out. But there's a lot of gang activity in Compton back in the day, especially with the Bloods and the Crips. And at one point, it was known as the murder capital of the United States. And it had a very violent reputation. And that contributed to the local gangster rap stuff with NWA and Compton's Most Wanted. And then it progressed through the 80s and 90s. But despite that environment, Suge wasn't really involved in those gangs growing up. He was actually pretty stable family. He did very well in school. He was very athletic and ambitious. He got a football scholarship.
What?
And went to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. He played as a defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams for a while.
I forgot about all this. Yeah.
And then he stopped doing that and started working as a bodyguard for Bobby Brown, which is his prerogative.
Yes, it is.
And he started making roads in the music business. That's what he wanted to do. And as he made those inroads, he started having repeated run-ins with the police. So October 1987, one of the first times he's arrested is for domestic violence. He apparently sliced off his girlfriend's ponytail.
Whoa.
Yeah, damn. And then on Halloween, He was picked up for stealing a car. He had a concealed weapon, and they just threw attempted murder on there. Why not? Trick or treat. Like, he grew up around all this gang culture, but he wasn't really in it. But then after he left the Rams and he started getting into the music business, he allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, y'all, so you can't sue, joined Mob Piru, which is a certain sect of the Blood gang. They have all kinds of different little groups in the groups. I get gangs in the gangs, and that was one of them. So I can't find an exact date of maybe when he joined or why he joined, because he seemed like he was doing well, but he brought them into his inner circle, and a lot of his death row enforcers were members of this gang, and
they'd be security, man. I mean, they know how to keep a secret.
Yes, and he used that to intimidate rivals and artists and executives. And one of the most famous ones is in 1990, Vanilla Ice blows up.
Van Winkle?
Ice, yeah.
Robert Van Winkle, is that his name?
Robert Van Winkle, his Ice Baby becomes a huge fucking hit. It's you couldn't escape it, word to your mother. You couldn't get away from it. And apparently one of Suge Knight's clients had helped write some of these songs or something. Or maybe he didn't. Who knows? It depends on who you ask. But allegedly, Knight hung Vanilla Ice off of a balcony of a hotel until he signed away some of the royalties for his album. Knight denies that this is a thing that happened, but Vanilla Ice did sign away.
Yeah, he did.
Of the publishing rights, and Suge Knight used that money to launch Death Row Records. Vanilla Ice has said, he didn't hang me off at any balcony, okay? The story's been kind of blown out of proportion, and I want to clarify that Suge and I have no bad feelings towards each other, says a man who's definitely not scared.
No, he's not scared shitless there, no. He was goofing around. We were all a little silly and drunk.
Hilarious.
It was no biggie.
If you want to see a lot of spoofs of this sort of thing, I strongly recommend you watch Fear of the Black Hat, which is a mockumentary about a group that does a lot of these things. So he takes the money he gets from the royalties from Vanilla Ice that he may or may not have earned, and launches Death Row Records with Dr. Dre, who of course is from NWA and is finding success too with his Straight Outta Compton and all of that. So he releases his solo album, The Chronic, in 92. And then with that, he launches Snoop Dogg from that album. And then Snoop Dogg launches his album in 93. And I cannot, if you weren't alive around then, which you may not be because we are old,
right?
But we were alive back then. And these albums were massive.
We were also living on the West Coast at the time, up in Northern California. I went to college out there, and Sonia's from there originally. And the East Coast, West Coast things for sure, because I came from the East Coast.
Yes.
But definitely those records, and there's just a sound that and it was different in Oakland versus San Francisco versus, LA.
Everywhere had a distinct sound. They had their voices
and
look and all of those things. But in particular, The Chronic and Doggy Style. Sorry, it's what it's called. Huge, and not just with Black people. This is when white people started getting into it too.
They were big crossover records. So you could say 10 years before, it was when Aerosmith and Run DMC had Walk This Way, which when I try to explain that to people, because we're also once again super fucking old, that was a big deal. Like, because this was a very white thing and a very black thing, and they were from Boston, and this is New York and stuff. But yeah, when it's showing the popularity, and white kids are buying up just as many records as everybody else. Yeah,
and I went to Chico State, and around the time that the albums had come out, like right before I got there or something. Any party I went to at Chico State, which was a lot of white people, they were playing these albums.
Yeah.
So they were insanely popular. So it really establishes the idea of West Coast hip hop, which really had been more East Coast before. Like definitely like Boogie Down Bronx and Brooklyn and all that was definitely the epicenter for rap. And now it's starting to really blow up. So it starts to blow up. So does Suge Knight. July 1992, charged with assault and robbery for like pistol whipping two men during he got into a fight at a record store in North Hollywood. He is convicted, but he's given a 5-year suspended sentence, and he lives for like a month in a halfway house. This guy is constantly arrested. You're going to be like, how is he just walking around?
Yeah.
But who knows? So the East Coast, West Coast rivalry is starting up, and Suge decides he just wants to like blow it all up and make it fucking worse. So in August 95, he wins some award, like one of his albums wins an award at the Source Awards in New York. And he gets on the stage and he just decides to shit all over Bad Boy Records, in particular Sean P. Diddy Combs. And he says, and
we've talked about him before, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit. He says, and it's very famous, go watch the clips. He says, any artist out there that wants to be an artist and stay the star and don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record dancing, come to death row. And everyone's like, boo! And some people are like, yay! And it really kicks their rivalry off to the next thing. And, it's like, why did he do that? Well, it's about like control and it's about image. Like Suge or Mr. Knight, please, I don't know him well enough. Mr. Knight, he was really like a behind the scenes guy. Like he wasn't on the records. That wasn't his thing. And P. Diddy was like really flashy and he's all in all the videos and he's wearing the clothes and he's dancing and all of that. And he really thought that like Diddy was hogging the spotlight from his artists and he was making it flashy, and his music was more party dance type of stuff, where what Death Row was more like, we're from the streets, kind of thing, and wanted to be more credible. So there's that. But he was also trying to recruit people. Like he's saying, come to Death Row. Like anyone who's sick of P. Diddy shit, come over here and we'll take care of you.
And we mentioned in our episode about P. Diddy alone that we did, that he had to be in all of their videos. He made it in their contracts that not only that, but they had to lease out his jets and his cars and everything. So he was making money off these videos. I mean, it's just he had his finger in all the pies and stuff.
Yes,
and that's
exactly
right. And Suge was like, I won't be dancing in your videos. You won't hear my voice. You do what you do, you boo. You can make your videos you want. I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah. I'll just be behind the scenes dangling men off of balconies.
Right. And also we should say in the early 90s, especially Gen X men, very much like, that person's a poser. That person's fake. We're real. So there was a whole thing.
We're keeping it real.
Right. Glam rock and hair rock, hair bands got famous, and then all of a sudden Nirvana comes along, and then it's like, boo, we don't like that stuff. This is the more real. And it's like, how real are they? They're not badass. Like Eddie Vedder's not a badass. He's not getting into fights or anything.
Right.
Why would he bother?
Yeah.
But it was the same thing. What we do is really artistic, and it's the real deal. And they're flashy and they're right. Anyway.
Yeah, this doesn't change.
No.
Like it doesn't, whatever music you're into, like there is this battle between what is like authentic and what
right.
is
And what, like, it's like
and what
Cowboy
is
Carter.
like yes, what is commercial, what is what's the word I'm looking
Well, what
for?
also is like a transition.
Manipulative or something.
Right.
Like yeah.
Right.
So there was that. So he comes out, he says what he says, and he gets everybody all riled up. And then next month, like Tupac had been arrested. Now, if y'all don't know Tupac, like he, was a rapper, but he also did movies and and he was problematic too. Dude was far from an angel. Like
Yeah, he was arrested for rape. I mean, and he
Yes.
was convicted of it and went to prison
Yes.
and was dating
Yes.
Madonna at the time and then dumped her via letter from jail because he said he didn't want to be seen with white women. It's a crazy time, y'all. The 90s
Yeah.
were wild.
Wild. The Onion recently had a headline that said something like "Nation longs to be upset about frivolous bullshit," something like that. And it was showing all these things from like the 90s and early 2000s. And I was like, oh, good times.
Yeah.
Good times. But yeah. So in September 95, Knight offers to post bail for Tupac, who is in jail for sexual abuse, if he would sign to death row. So he signs to death row. He gets his bail. He released a double album. Those albums were huge. It was 96. It was All Eyes on Me, insanely popular. And then another one called The 7-Day Theory. Then like a year later, almost exactly a year later, they're in Vegas. Maybe they shouldn't be going to Vegas because I feel like a lot of bad stuff happens for Suge Knight when he's in Vegas. But
Did you hear that Vegas is expensive now? Somebody was just telling me this. Like,
yeah.
in Vegas, they're raising the prices for everything for everybody. Like, they've just decided, like, just to jack up. And the whole thing about Vegas was like, it was dirt cheap. Like, you didn't have to spend any money. You know, you could spend money, but it wasn't on a room. Like, you spent it all over.
Yeah. They just talked about this on the season finale of Hacks where they...
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Tropicana is being blown up and they're going to replace it. And they do have a conversation about like, oh, Vegas used to be like kind of dirty and kind of gritty. And you could go there for like and have a good time for like a lower price and all that. And now everything is getting bought out by really rich people and conglomerates and all this stuff. So it is very, very interesting. But so in 96, Tupac and Suge are hanging around the MGM Grand Hotel, and the cameras there capture footage of them like beating up a man, just a man named Orlando Anderson, who was a member of the Southside Compton Crips. So he's messing with some gang members here. Then a few hours later, Knight is driving his BMW and Tupac is in the passenger seat, and he is shot multiple times in a drive-by. And as we all know, 6 days later, he died. His murder has never been solved. Biggie's murder, we're going to get to that. Biggie's murder has never been solved either. There's all kinds of theories, and there's all kinds of people that are like, he's not really dead. He's living in Bermuda and like all this. I'm like, okay, like
they do this with Jim Morrison and Elvis. There's certain and John. Like he apparently didn't die in a plane crash. Right? There's certain people that don't want them to be dead.
Yeah, but it was really, really fucking sad. Like
yes, and he was 27 too.
Yeah,
Tupac.
Super young, really sad, and there are suspicions that Suge Knight was involved in Tupac's death. They've done various documentaries over the years, and some people like Snoop Dogg actually think that Knight was involved. They are definitely at fault for what happened. There's like a documentary where a former police detective is convinced that like Suge Knight had Tupac killed, allegedly, because Tupac was going to leave the label, and that he then conspired to kill the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie Smalls to divert attention from himself in the Tupac case. So that's a lot. But Knight is eventually convicted of 9 years in prison just for violating his parole.
Okay.
Like,
beating people in the
yes. Yes.
in the entryway wasn't really a smart idea with cameras everywhere.
Yeah. So he's already in prison serving his time. When March 97 is when Notorious B.I.G. is killed in a drive-by shooting. He was like leaving a party in LA, and it was an example of the tensions between Bad Boy and Death Row, East Coast, West Coast. Shit was getting out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Suge Knight is never tied to that murder. And then, of course, there's, again, all the documentaries that are like he ordered a hit from jail and none of that stuff has been proven. He gets out of jail in 2001 and he tries to relaunch Death Row Records, calling it Da Row. Da Row. Da Row. But then he's back in jail 2 years later for violating his parole because he sucker punched some parking lot attendant outside a nightclub, and he goes back to prison for 10 months.
What a
I'm
dipshit. Sorry.
such a dipshit.
Just don't punch people.
Yes!
And add me to that list, by the way, of 3,000 miles away.
Please, Mr. Knight. In August 2005, he goes to an MTV Video Music Awards party that's being hosted by Kanye West. What could possibly go wrong at a party hosted by Kanye West? Well, something big, because Suge Knight is shot in the leg, and he was robbed of almost $150,000. And
holy
he had
crap.
some 15-carat diamond earrings.
Oh,
That's some pretty fucking expensive earrings. The following year, he files for bankruptcy, and he gets into a legal battle with someone who claims that Linda Harris, who's claimed that she's a former business associate who owns. She says she's owed a bunch of money, and she actually gets $107 million.
Ooh.
Yeah, in a civil court judgment. So good for her. It wasn't a surprise when Death Row or Da Row or whatever he wanted to call it went bankrupt. Dre had already left the label. Tupac had died, and then a couple months after Tupac died, Snoop Dogg left the label, and
They were the biggies.
They were the biggies. And then there's when Tupac died and was killed, and when Notorious B.I.G. was killed, there was kind of this, we're done with gangsta rap.
Mm-hmm.
And people kind of stopped buying it, and they weren't interested in listening to that. They wanted to, have a good time and
more party music.
Yeah, that's it. Then all of a sudden, we all want to listen to the Black Eyed Peas and stuff. We're just looking to party. So not a surprise. May 2008. Here we go with the rap sheet, y'all. He gets into another fight over money outside a nightclub, as he is wont to do in Hollywood. He gets his ass kicked, which is pretty impressive because, again, he's really big.
How big is he?
That's a good question. Let's look.
Look at it, because he's a gigantic sized man.
Yeah, Suge Knight. Let's do how tall and see what pops. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
And then
he's stocky.
Yeah. Okay, let's do height and weight. 265.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
It's a solid dude.
Good. Solid dude. So he gets into it. He is knocked unconscious. He's unconscious for 3 minutes. That's not nothing.
Mm.
And then he's taken to the hospital. He does not cooperate with the police department, so no charges are ever filed against anybody. A couple months later, he's arrested again, this time for beating up his girlfriend.
No.
Yep. He was spotted out on the Las Vegas Strip, again, in Vegas. He's outside a Las Vegas strip club, and the cops roll up, and he's standing over his girlfriend. He's holding a knife.
Asshole.
And yes, and he had beat her up. He also was in possession of ecstasy and things like that. So, nothing ever came of it because she refused to testify against him. And
right.
Because
she's terrified.
Because she's terrified of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's really scary. Year after that, he's in another fight at a private party in Arizona. and he ends up in the hospital with injuries. 2 men are arrested for it, and one of them is Akon's business manager. Akon is another rapper, singer. And then just the next month, a bunch of men who know Suge Knight broke into that man's home, and they stole $170,000 worth of jewels, stereo equipment, and they stole a full-on safe.
They stole the safe from Suge Knight's house?
No, from Akon's
From
producer's
Akon's house. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they are like, "We can't get the safe open. We're taking it." They just took the safe.
How much did that thing
Yes.
weigh?
It must have been so much. Knight was like, "I have nothing to do with this stuff," but all kinds of rumors were like, he's involved, but he was never charged. But those other guys were. December, arrested again. This time he's just like in an LA shopping mall, and he just didn't appear in court for a traffic violation. It's like, dude has too many parking tickets or some shit, and they're like, "Are you Suge Knight? Follow me. You're under arrest." Dude, hire a driver.
Right.
You're fucking hire a driver. Because again, like 2 years later, he's out in Vegas and he gets pulled over and he has a bunch of traffic warrants again. And they arrest him again. Like, dude, you wouldn't spend so much time in jail if you just hire a driver. Was it September 2013? He gets arrested for another misdemeanor traffic violation and arrested for an outstanding warrant, and then he's freed. The following year, 2014, he goes to a party that's hosted by future What a Creep episode singer Chris Brown.
Oh, yeah. He's on the list.
He's on the list, y'all. We're waiting for his trial to finish.
Yeah.
We're
keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, it's like an MTV VMAs pre-party. And what do you think happened there? He got shot again. Just like he did at Kanye West's pre-VMAs party.
Suge got shot again?
Yes. Don't go to those parties.
No, he's got to stay home more.
Okay, and then August. This is October. So this is like just 2 months after getting shot in the leg again at Chris Brown's party. I guess a paparazzi photographer tried to take a picture of Suge Knight and comedian Cat Williams hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they stole her camera. She that presses charges. But they put it on hold because he was also going to be on trial for murder. And they're like, let's see how this whole murder trial plays out.
Who did he murder?
We're going to get to that. More on that in a second. But Cat Williams just was like, I'm going to plead no contest to that. And he had to take a year of anger management classes. And he got 3 years probation. So about that murder trial.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Straight Outta Compton?
Of course.
Okay. I have not, but I'm thinking I might watch it tonight.
It's good. I liked it very much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually kind of surprising that I haven't watched it because this shit's kind of my jam.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really like the way he was portrayed being portrayed in the movie. Apparently in the movie, he's portrayed as someone who's really violent and intimidates people. And that's not what he does,
Oh, for
you
God's
guys.
sakes.
He is shown beating people up and threatening artists. That is not what Suge Knight is all about. And
LOL.
he felt that he was being biased, because it's executive produced by Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. And
and in every interview he did, he talked up his reputation. It's not like he walked in there like, I'm really shy and quiet. No. He went in there smoking cigars and acting like, the head dick in charge.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Now he's all, I'm just a little baby. No, sir.
No. You were in on it.
So he had obviously a lot of tension with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, and Eazy-E's widow Tamika Woods Wright. These were all executive producers on the movie, and he is not involved in the movie. Sir, you are not invited. And he doesn't like the way he's being portrayed. And I'm like, bitch, make your own movie.
That
Make
was
your own
Sonia, by the
movie.
way, not
Yeah.
Marco.
Not, sir, make your own movie. So he felt like he was being excluded from telling his side because the movie's not about him, it's about them. But whatever. So he shows up to the set in February 2015, and he got into an argument with folks. He wasn't supposed to be at the set. He was
For the
not-
movie? Like while they're filming the movie?
yes.
He heard
Yes.
he heard, I guess he
Yes.
saw an early script and then
Yeah.
knew what was going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yes. So he shows up on the set. He gets into an argument with people, really just confirming that the portrayal's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Basically.
I'm not a hothead.
Now come here. Like, so
Well, I
after the
drive somewhere
argument,
where I'm not invited.
so, use your brain, sir. After the argument, he like follows two men to like a nearby burger joint, and he gets into an argument with them. One of them is Terry Carter, who's like a local business owner and I guess a friend of Suge's, or was anyway. And then the other one is Clee Bone, quote unquote, that's the nickname, Sloan, and is an actor and a former gang member who had worked on the production. They get into an argument. Suge gets into his red pickup truck and he runs them over.
Oh,
And one of them died. Terry Carter
oh God,
died.
no.
Yes. And Sloan got like multiple fractures and ankles and like head injuries, which, as we know, that ain't nothing.
That ain't nothing. They don't know what they're doing when that happens. Yeah.
So because of his prior convictions, this would be his third strike. Judging by this list I've been looking at, this is his like 12th strike, but whatever. It's his third strike. He claims he was acting in self-defense and that he was fleeing an ambush.
They were going to run me over with the truck, you see, but I got into the truck and I kicked them out and then I ran them over because... But that was just to protect myself.
There was surveillance footage, and they told a very different story.
I wasn't supposed to be there, and technically the movie hasn't come out yet. They can't prove that it's going to, But anyway.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him. Also, while the trial is going on, he is accused of attempting to intimidate the witnesses and obstruct the investigation. He threatened the life of the director, F. Gary Gray. During all of this, he pled not guilty to the charge of intimidation, but he ended up taking a plea deal. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, and he got 28 years in prison. So he is still in prison.
He's really fucking guilty, yeah.
Because he's really, really fucking guilty.
Yeah. Like, come on, 28 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's sitting in prison, but he's still finding things to do.
I wonder if he's quilting. Did you see that Netflix documentary about the quilting?
I haven't watched it.
It's really cute.
Okay.
It's only like 40 minutes, but it's about, there's this one prison on the West Coast here in America, and they make quilts for kids that are in foster homes. So they have like their own blanket. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. But I don't picture Suge taking part in all this. I don't think they trust him with the needles and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think they would trust him with the knitting needles. So he has said that he wants to develop a biopic or some sort of documentary about his life. Of course he
Yes,
does.
you should. Yeah, I'll watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's reportedly signed his life rights over to his son,
That's smart.
Suge Jacob Knight, to manage these deals. And then in 2023, he launched his own podcast, Like You Do. And it's called Collect Call with Suge Knight.
Oh, great.
Yeah, because you do have, that's the only way, that's the way he records it. You record from his collect calls from prison. It's got a co-host who's like, his name is David Mays, and he's the co-founder of Source Magazine. He's co-hosting it with him. And he talks about his life and old shit, his beefs and the industry drama and current events or whatever. At no point is he in here taking accountability for his actions, in case you're wondering. he really sees that he is misunderstood and a scapegoat
Oh, sure.
for these things.
Sure, Jim.
And, speaking of scapegoats, he's also shared some thoughts about his East Coast rival, Sean Diddy Combs. He doesn't think that he should be behind bars. He says, Puffy and I are not friends. Understatement.
Yeah.
But Puffy should definitely walk free.
Yeah, I care what you have to say about that, sir.
Yeah. Yes, he said the most important thing is that it was other executives who were involved in Puffy's life. For Puffy to be the only guy that gets on the stand is a sad day for hip hop.
There are a lot of other sad days for hip hop, sir, but
Yeah,
I mean,
also
he did this to himself.
Yes, and if there's other people involved, then we arrest those people too. And if you have some details, maybe you'd like to share them with people.
Yeah.
Like, that is the correct answer, sir. It isn't, well, if we're not going to arrest these other guys, then we shouldn't arrest him. Who are the other guys, sir? Whom are you speaking of? Like, ugh. So that is our creep, Suge Knight.
Good job, Sonia.
Thank you. And thank you, sir, Suge Knight. Please don't hurt me.
Please don't kill us. Well, I decided, I was like, what about Questlove? And you're like, nah, we just talked about Questlove. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some nonprofits that are centered around hip hop and the world of hip hop. So
that's dope.
So this is dope. So let's start with the Center for Hip Hop Advocacy. It strives to expand public understanding of hip hop music and culture. Our mission is to ensure the fair and accurate documentation and communication of our diverse and ongoing contributions across various fields and disciplines. And they have a podcast, and Hip Hop Can Save America. The other one that I want to talk about is the Hip Hop Caucus. For 20 years, Hip Hop Caucus has worked to mobilize and organize communities of color to fight racial, climate, and economic justice. We will not stop fighting until we achieve clean air, clean water, peace, prosperity for our people.
Ooh, I like all those things.
Yes. There's also Hip Hop for Change, empowering underserved students through culturally competent holistic education. At Hip Hop for Change, we are driven by the belief that every student, regardless of background or circumstance, has potential to thrive when given the right tools, support, and opportunities. Our program is designed to be holistically, culturally competent, and affirmative. We meet young people where they are and use hip hop culture as a dynamic vehicle for personal growth and academic success. They are based in the Bay Area. We have all these links in the show notes, so you could go see this for yourself. There is Hip Hop Public Health. This is after a series of NIH funded programs. The National Institute of Health. I know. It's basically the person who organizes Dr. Williams. They are working with patients in historically marginalized communities where they help them if they have low health literacy levels. We live in a country that has low literacy levels, period, especially for health. Yeah. A lot of the amount of misinformation that's proven out there. This is a place where they help people, show them the resources to give them the proper education. These are the vaccinations you should get. This is what's recommended if you have somebody in your home that's over the age of 60. There's a lot of, yeah.
It's about to get harder. It's about to get harder, too.
It's about to get much harder because of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the MAHA movement, which makes me fucking crazy.
So crazy.
But we work with what we can. So that's Hip Hop Health. There's Social Work Chicago, which is endorsed by Chance the Rapper. It's their whole mission is to empower the youth through, arts, education, and civic engagement. And that's in the Chicagoland area. And lastly, the Hip Hop Museum. You're like, wait a second, there's a Hip Hop Museum? I got to get my ass there. It ain't open yet. It's next year in the Boogie Down Bronx.
I will
I will be there. You better fly out here for that.
Yeah. Yes.
We will be going together.
I would love it.
Their mission is to preserve the official record of hip hop culture with all people through our inclusive learning environments to celebrate hip hop pedagogies and curricula. I don't know what that means. But anyway, that's the Hip Hop Museum. I put all these links in the show notes so you could see for yourself. You could donate to all those places or just keep on top of them, sign up for their newsletters, things like that. All of that helps these places. So that's where we are. Those are our non-creeps right now, the hip-hop non-creeps.
That's a great list, Margot.
Thank you. And if you like the sound of our voices, and by golly, why wouldn't you at this point, we co-host a show called Dorking Out, where Sonia and I dork out about movies. Now, last week, what was the movie that we did?
Good question. What was the movie that we did? I'm looking it up. Oh, it's Pop Star. Never stopping.
Right. And we didn't know the top 10, by the way, because we always talk about the top 10
oh my God,
songs the week it comes out.
Every song, anything. We were like, don't know that one, don't know that one, don't know that one.
Well, we should know this one.
Yes.
So we're going to be covering one of my favorite movies of all time, Apollo 13.
It's going to be fun.
It's the 30th anniversary that came out in the spring of 95. It's Tom Hanks. It's Gary Sinise. We got moon landings. It's exciting. Kevin Bacon's in there. Ed Harris is in there yelling at people. It's pretty great. So that's what's happening.
Yelling at people.
So all those places I mentioned at the top of the show, please be sure to follow us and send us your suggestions. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. I sent out a bunch of stickers the other day.
It's happening.
They're all gone. So now I have to order some more. So if you want stickers, please send us your address, but it's probably going to take a few weeks to get that going. But other than that, Sonia.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
You can't find me. I'm just kidding. I'm at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Blue Sky and Threads and Instagram and the TikTok. But I am most active in our Facebook group. Where can people find you, my friend?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm a Brooklyn Fit Chick for Threads and Instagram. I'm at Brooklyn Margot for Blue Sky and TikTok. And then I'm at my name, Margot Donahue, for YouTube. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. We really appreciate it. In the meantime, be safe, be kind. Don't hit people with baseball bats. You don't need all that service. Don't be a creep.
Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.